Hello, picture this. You have just met someone. He looks you in the eye, shakes your hand, smiles, 10 seconds pass and his name has already evaporated from your head, as if he was never there. You think, am I just absent-minded or do I have a bad memory for names? No, it is not absent-mindedness. It is not an accident. It is a psychological portrait and it says a lot more about you than you think. Stop. But what if I just do not care about the person's name? I was not going to remember it anyway, and there is nothing wrong with that. If I need this guy again, I will just ask for his name once more. I agree there is such a percentage of people, which I already see in the comments, but what if we exclude this answer and look at it from a different angle? Today we are breaking down 6 hidden traits of people who easily forget names, and I guarantee by the end of this video, you will look at your own mindset completely differently. Here is what you have been told your whole life. Forgetting names is impolite. It is a sign of selfishness. You are just not listening. We are destroying this right now. Science says otherwise. Neuropsychology says otherwise, and life, if you pay attention, says otherwise too. People who easily forget names often have a special type of brain, a brain that works differently from the majority, deeper, faster, differently. But this comes with a price, and we are going to take this price apart piece by piece right now. Leave a like, subscribe. Let us go. Trait number 1. The absorbed mind. In the book Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, Kahneman describes 2 modes of thinking, a fast intuitive one and a slow analytical one. People with a dominant system 2, the slow conscious analytical one, often overload their working memory and lose small details like names. They are not listening to you, they are listening to themselves. You meet a person, he says his name. At this moment, your brain is already somewhere else. It is analyzing his gestures, his energy, his look. It builds a model of this person even before he finishes speaking. The name is lost in this flow. This is called cognitive overload. Your brain processes too much information at the same time, and the name, as the least emotionally charged element, flies out first. This is not selfishness. This is a feature of a highly active analytical mind. Such people are often brilliant observers. They notice what others miss, but they pay for it with forgotten names and lost keys. The question is not whether you are listening. The question is, on what level you are listening. Trait number 2, the emotional filter. Joseph Ledoux, in his book The Emotional Brain, proved that emotional memory is formed differently from declarative memory. Without an emotional anchor, information does not pass into long-term storage. The brain remembers what it feels, not what it hears. Tell me honestly, do you remember the name of a person who impressed you, who touched you, who triggered something inside us, and the name of the one who was just there disappeared? This is not an accident, it is the architecture of memory. The hippocampus, the memory center in your brain, works in conjunction with the amygdala, the emotion center. If emotions are not activated, information is not fixed. A neutral person, a neutral moment, a neutral memory. People who forget names often live in a very rich emotional world inside. Calmness on the outside, a storm on the inside, and this storm consumes everything superficial. A name without emotion is a sound, just a sound. Trait number 3, visual thinking. Oliver Sacks in the book The Mind's Eye explores people with different types of visual perception and shows how different modes of information processing form completely different cognitive profiles. They think in images, and a name is just a word. There are people who think in words, and there are those who think in images. For a visual thinker, a name is an abstraction, an empty sound with no picture, no shape, no color, but a face. A face is data, it is a story. It is a living object that the brain instantly scans and saves. Such people will remember your face in a crowd a year later, but not your name. This is not disrespect, it is a different language of perception. Artists, architects, designers, directors. There is a disproportionately high number of those who forget names among them because their brain is optimized for a different type of information. They literally see the world differently. Trait number 4, wandering presence. In the book The Wandering Mind by Michael Corballis, he explores the phenomenon of the wandering mind and its role in creativity and planning, explaining why being distracted is an evolutionary advantage, not a weakness. The body is here, the mind is already there. Have you ever talked to someone and felt that they were not really there? They look at you, they nod, but they are gone. This is not rudeness. It is the wandering mind, and this is one of the most underestimated traits of modern humans. Harvard studies have shown that people spend almost 47% of their time thinking about things not related to what is happening right now, almost half of their life in another place. And in this other place, your name does not exist. But here is what matters. A wandering mind is not a defect. It is the engine of creativity, planning, problem-solving. The default mode network of the brain, this is what generates ideas while you are silent. The price of this gift is presence, or rather its absence, and your name becomes a victim of the creative process of someone else. Trait number 5, deep interest in the essence. Susan Cain, in her book Quiet, The Power of Introverts, describes how introverts and deep thinkers focus on the meaningful content of an interaction, rather than its social formalities, which include remembering names. They care about who you are, not what your name is. Here is the paradox. People who forget names are often the most curious conversationalists. They want to know the real you. They are interested in what you think about death, about money, about why you do what you do. A name is a label, and they do not collect labels, they collect people. This is called an interest in the essence, not in attributes. Psychologists link this to a high score in openness to experience, one of the big 5 personality traits. Such people see right through the surface, they seek depth, and while you are saying your name, they are already reading your soul. The name will come later or it will not, but you will remain. Trait number 6, high cognitive load as the norm. In the book Your Brain at Work, David Rock explains the limitations of the prefrontal cortex and working memory. When the cognitive load is high, the brain sacrifices secondary data, and names are the first in this category. Their brains are always working at the limit. The last trait, and perhaps the most important one. There are people whose brains never rest, even at night, even in chance. They plan, analyze, rethink, anticipate. It is not a choice. It is the default mode. The working memory of such people is constantly busy. It is like a browser with 100 open tabs, and when new information comes in, like the name of someone, the system simply lacks the resources to process and save it. This is not laziness. This is an overload of a system that works too hard. Such people often achieve a lot. They think faster, see further, feel more acutely, but they forget names, and where they left their phone and what they wanted to say 3 seconds ago. This is not a bug. It is the flip side of a powerful processor. You have listened to all this and something inside recognized itself. Maybe you have been angry at yourself for years, thinking that something is wrong with you, that you are inattentive, cold, selfish, or stop, you're not cold, you're different. Your brain works in a mode that most people do not understand because most people do not look that deep. And yes, it creates awkwardness. It creates moments when you blush because you forgot a name again. But behind this awkwardness is a gift, the gift of depth, the gift of vision, the gift of true presence where it really matters. The question is not how to remember a name. The question is how to accept yourself for who you are and learn to work with it, not against it. 6 traits, 6 portraits of the same type of mind. Absorbed, emotional, visual, wandering, deep, overloaded. This is not a list of flaws, it is a map of your inner world. And you know what? The people who change this world, scientists, artists, philosophers, creators, most of them forgot names because they were busy with something else. They built inside what later became the outside. So the next time you forget the name of the person, do not punish yourself. Just remember, a brain that forgets names often remembers what is truly important.